I read 18 books during the month of October, and I cannot believe I read this many because last month I read 20 books, and I just feel like I've been really into a big reading mood lately. I can barely even hold these up. There's so many, but we're gonna go through these. I had so many great reads this month. I even had some 4 stars, some 5 stars, just so many good books. We're gonna start with the books that I read at the beginning of the month because I feel like if you guys watch the vlogs, I do talk about a lot of the books that I read in the vlogs, but I feel like there are so many that I've read this month that I just almost forget how I felt about the ones at the beginning of the month. So we're gonna start there. The first book that I read this month, I'm pretty sure, is God of the Woods. I ended up reading this whenever I went out of town to visit Natalie, which is so wild to think about that was this month. Like, well, this past month, like it just feels like it was forever ago. I was not a huge fan of this book. I feel like this book is for the people who love lyrical writing. I have really found out what I love and what I don't love in a book, and now that I know what I love, I know what to stay away from. But I was reading this book for a book club that I was gonna go to, and I didn't wanna really be out of the loop, so picked it up. And this is the perfect reason why I can't do book clubs, because I feel like if there's a book in the book club that I don't wanna read or I know I'm not gonna like, there's really no point in reading it because I know my taste so well. And the second I started this book, I was like, I don't know if this is for me. But again, I did want to read it because I've heard so many great reviews about it and I did not enjoy it. Again, I do think that if you are someone who really loves lyrical writing, you could like this one. And if you go into this story looking for more of a literary or contemporary fiction, you'd enjoy it. I expected a mystery / thriller. Like that's the vibe I expected, and it was a little bit slower. Wasn't for me, but I could see how other people enjoyed it. And then I ended up reading The Autumn Leaf Bookshop. This is a fantasy or like a romantasy by a Black author. Absolutely love this book. It's spicy, it's fun, it's everything that I wanted in a fantasy. I'm not someone who normally reads fantasy, so it was surprising that I love this one as much as I did, but I could not put this one down. Pick this up if you're someone who doesn't normally like fantasy. It's about a girl who goes to this town where she goes there because her grandma lives there, but in the town there are fae, there are dragons that talk to people, there are all kinds of just magical things. And it was very cozy and cute. And I feel like this is a type of romantasy that I want to read in the future. I feel like that's what I'll like if I want to dive into that genre more. I don't normally read that genre often because I feel like most of the books surround like action and stuff, and I don't really care about that much. So I think that's why I don't usually end up picking those books up, but I want to read more cozy fantasies. And then I read It's Different This Time. This is a story that's told over the span of I think 10 years, and it's about 2 people who ended up living together, and then they, like later on in life, they are completely disconnected. They're not even like friends, and so you're seeing the past and present timeline. If you like a friends to lovers story, we also like a story that's really gonna give you like the long haul. Like it's giving you everything from like start to finish, middle, everything in between. You're getting a real, true friends to lovers. Like you get to see their friendship. You'll love this book. This is probably one of my favorite fall reads of the year. It was so good. It had so much depth. I really, really love this one a lot. And then I ended up reading People Watching. This book right here was a great read as well. No, not this book. This is a book I actually didn't like. Oh my gosh, I was thinking about the next book because I was looking at the cover. This book I didn't care for. This was not a great read for me. I think I ended up rating this 2 stars. I feel like the spice overtook the plot. That for me is not my favorite. I know some people do enjoy that. It's just not for me. I do love spice, but I don't like when I feel like it takes away the story. Like I need a story. Like that's what I'm reading for. So yeah, that one wasn't really for me, but I could see how some people like it if they want more spice than plot. This book right here was the book that got me into reading contemporary fiction. This is a book by a Black author. I have not really been reading a lot of contemporary fiction because I feel like, I don't know, I just got burnt out on it in college as an English literature major, so I just wanted to read romance, and I haven't really found the type of contemporary fiction that I liked until I picked up this book, and then I ended up reading, I think, 5 contemporary fiction books this month, which is a lot for me. This book was so good. It talks in depth about grief and loss and learning how to be okay with someone passing and maybe you not getting all the answers that you wanted out of that relationship. It just talks about the complexities of grief and how to navigate it. I really enjoyed this one. The main character in this is kind of going on like a little quest to like figure some things out, and you're seeing as she's going along, she's realizing that the person who passed, she maybe didn't know them as well as she thought she did, or maybe she does. You know, you just have to read the book to figure it out. I love this book, rated at 4 stars. I think that this is a book that everyone should read. I read The Wilderness, and this is a book, another book by a Black author, and it has so many themes of friendship, and you're getting a friendship told over the span of like a very long period of time. You're getting them going through heartbreaks and postpartum and all the hardships that friendships go through. And I think for me, this one was one that I didn't really care for, mostly just because the writing style. The writing style was a lot of inner monologue. There wasn't a ton of dialogue. I also feel like it was very lyrical. There were a lot of points of view. That is not my favorite type of read. I just don't like that. I think if it was written a little bit differently, I would have loved the story. Like the plot itself was like really enjoyable, but I just feel like I was listening to what was going on in people's heads as I was reading the book versus listening to conversation that people were having like back and forth. So again, I do think that people will love this. It just wasn't for me. I think I ended up rating that one 3 stars. And I was on the fence about rating it a little lower because again, I just really didn't care for the writing style, but the story, so good. So I don't know, I just couldn't rate it any lower than 3 stars because the story was really good. It's just I got so hung up on the writing style. I kept being like, this story is like kind of, it feels like I'm just reading a journal entry, like a diary entry, and I wanted more from it. But then I ended up reading Selfish by Katura B, rated this book 4.5 out of 5 stars. And I ended up buying this book for my cousin because I knew that she would love it. If you've read Fast by Millie Belazar, please pick this book up. I actually gave my copy to my cousin. My copy was very mangled, and I bought a new copy for myself. I actually have a book haul coming soon, so I had to open up one of the boxes to get this book. This book is one I could see myself reading. Maybe not reading again, but definitely lending out to someone. I really enjoyed this one. It's about a girl whose mom sells her for money, and you see her just try to come up and just have the best life she can with the circumstances that she has in her life. I feel like after I got done reading this book, I had so much just gratitude for the life that I live and have lived growing up, and I also feel like seeing her resilience through what she went through gave me even more empathy for people who have to go through similar things like this. It was just really good. It was really good. She was trying to get out the mud the whole book, and I was rooting for her from start to finish. Then I read Fall I Want. Now this is a book that I really did love. I didn't expect to love it because it's one that is I keep doing this. I'm mixing up the 2 books. Okay, there's another book in here. I could have swore, or maybe I read that last month. Yeah, maybe I did read that last month because this is the book. Yeah, this isn't the book that I was thinking about. This is the book that I thought was okay, but it wasn't what I was expecting. This is a book that I feel like should have a different title. The book I was thinking about is called, it's like Falling Leaves, I think that's what it's called. And it's like a young adult book. Love that book. I think I read that book like the month before last, like my last wrap up. This book right here has a very similar cover and I thought would be a similar vibe. It was different. This one, very magical. If you like to read like romantasy, like a fall cozy romantasy, pick this up. This to me felt like fantasy because there was just a lot of magical elements in it that I didn't really care for. The story was enjoyable, but it just was like heavy spice, lots of like magical things. I was like, wait, are we in the real world? Are we not? Like I'm confused. So yeah, definitely go into this. I almost feel like this book should have been like the cover, it says Love is Brewing in Cozy Creek. It should have been like, I don't know, a spell is brewing, like something like that, love spell. I don't know. It just should have given more like commentary to the magical elements in this book on the back of it because I did not expect that going into this book. It says it's like a Hallmarky type of book, which it kind of is, but like it just gave very much magical, smutty story. So yeah, that one was just like mid for me. I also read The Intruder by Frida McFadden. This is a book that I will say that I would recommend. I think what works well about this book is that it's set at a cabin. It felt very like spooky vibes, which I really loved. The last few books by Freida McFadden I haven't really enjoyed, so I haven't really recommended, like The Tenant and The Boyfriend. I just was like, I didn't really like them. This one I did. I really did enjoy this one. I think I rated this one 3.5 out of 5 stars. I'm excited to see more books from Freida McFadden, but I will say that Freida McFadden's books to me are books that I recommend to like new readers, to people who maybe like haven't read a lot of books, so you're not going to be able to like spot a plot from a mile away, because a lot of Freida McFadden's books I feel like are kind of predictable. This one wasn't as much, but there were things I could definitely predict out of it. But if you want to know, should I pick up this book, maybe get it from the library. Maybe don't buy it, but like get it from the library, get it from a friend. Like, it definitely is one that I would read, but it wouldn't be something that I'd say you have to read. I'll say that. Now, a thriller I do think you have to read that is super underrated is She Didn't See It Coming. Rated this book 4 stars. Loved this book. This is an author who is very similar to Freida McFadden's style of writing, very fast paced. It's usually told in like a suburbs type of area, so like you're not getting anything crazy. Whereas I feel like Freida McFadden's stories are kind of the same. It's like regular people and just stuff happens to regular people. Cherie LaPena's books are similar. They're very fast-paced, short chapters. This one is one where you probably will not guess what happens at the end, and I love that about this book. So definitely pick this one up if you want a good thriller. I also ended up reading Summer of Dandelions by Whitney Amazine. I read The Wrong Kind of Falling by this author last month, and had to pick up this book this month because I love the other book so much. It is definitely mangled. I definitely mangle my books. Like, they're very well loved. I actually love this book even more than the fall book by this author that I read. And I read rated The Wrong Kind of Falling 4 stars. Rating this one 4 stars, but just know that this one's like, I liked it even more. I think I liked it more because Addison is a character who's very strong. I feel like the storyline was a little bit more, not necessarily believable, because it was kind of like outlandish, but it's a nanny trope. It was just like more fun. Like, the other storyline was like, she has to save her like dog business because she, has not really good reviews. And this one is like, he has to get a nanny to take care of his crazy kids, and there's like another plot that's like moving the story along, and it was fun. It was really fun. You can feel the tension in the story, and I also feel like if you're someone who doesn't want spice in a book but you want tension, pick this one up. There's definitely lots of tension, and I feel like Whitney Amazine does like the no spice or like minimal, like, because like you're gonna get kissing and stuff. Like, she does that very well, and it's very tasteful. So love that. I also read Lonely Crowds. Again, this was me getting back into my contemporary fiction bag, and I'm realizing I do love this genre. I just need the right books. And I feel like when I ask people for recommendations, they recommend books that they loved, not books that they know I would love. And people do that all the time. Like, I think that is the worst thing that you can do to someone who's wanting to get into like reading a book. Most people recommend books that they love. They're like, oh yeah, I love this book, you should read it. Not realizing like, yeah, maybe you loved it, but like I wouldn't like it because I don't like these specific things in books. I know what I like in books now, so I can pick up books that I like and do it often. For me, I love contemporary fiction that has romance. It also has themes of family and friendship. I also love when there's tons of dialogue in a book, or when there are themes of grief, just things that I have navigated through or am navigating through, but also that feel like real life people. Like, I don't want to read something that's like, all these like poetic whatever, like I don't care. Like, that's like too much words. Like, I just don't. Not even too much words, it's just like too wordy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need all that. So this book I really loved because you are seeing the toxic friendship of these two. They meet at a young age, and you also are getting what it is like to keep a friend in your life who maybe shouldn't be there, but also like they're there for a purpose because they are good in some ways. But then you're also seeing the characters in this learn to love who they are, and like the things about themselves that maybe the world doesn't love about them. It's a really good book. It's told over a long period of time. Really love this one. I think I rated that one 4 stars as well. Honestly, I have a lot of 4-star books coming up. I read My Train Leaves at 3. This is another literary fiction book. This book is one that made me really think twice about like how much emphasis we put on our careers. And I know that there's so many other themes in this book that are important, but that to me was the thing that stuck out like the most. And maybe that's what I'm loving about contemporary fiction or literary fiction. There's so many different ways to interpret a story and like the importance of it. And obviously romance will forever have my heart, but I feel like I am broadening my scope of what I like to read. And I wouldn't say my taste is like growing up. I feel like I hear that a lot when people start going from like romance to reading other things. People will be like, or reading other genres. People will be like, oh, you're growing up. Like your taste is changing, and like, you know, you're letting go of like things that you read as a kid, and like you're like almost getting like a better taste. And I don't think that that's like the best way to frame when you add in new genres. I don't think there's anything wrong with reading romance or reading thrillers or reading graphic novels or reading sci-fi, fantasy, anything. Like, I don't think that there's a better genre or worse genre than another. And I think that sometimes when, at least from what I've seen when I was in college, like a lot of people who read literary fiction or contemporary fiction would almost look down on people who wanted to read other genres as if that was like the more esteemed genre, or like more, like you learned more from it. But I think I learned a lot from romances. But I think that now that I'm finding the type of literary and contemporary fiction books that I enjoy, I am learning from these as well, which I'm loving. But this one in particular, the main character in this wants so badly to be an actress, and she kind of like puts her morals to the side to try to make that happen. And I really loved how by the end you're seeing her perspective shift a little bit on like what's most important in life. So yeah, I really loved that story. This book was really good. It was also really funny, but also really not funny. It's about a girl who is navigating grief, and you're seeing the real raw effects of grief. It's called Francine's Spectacular Crash and Burn. I will link all these books below like I always do. But you're seeing her navigate like the real effects of grief and what it's like to lose someone. And while she's navigating that, she has this little neighbor that comes over, and he's kind of like irritating her, and he's just like asking her silly questions. She's like, hey, I don't really want to be on this earth anymore. I'm not trying to talk to anybody, like leave me alone. And he just like won't leave her be. He's on the spectrum, and she's seeing how he's navigating through life, and it's giving her inspiration, but also he introduces her to some other people that she knew from the past, and it's just a whole whirlwind of things that happen. Really love this story. I ended up rating this one 4 stars as well. And then I read If It Makes You Happy. Now, I think that this book was right book, wrong time. Because again, you can see I've read, 3 contemporary literary fictions back to back to back. And then I read this book, which again, banger. Very, very good, really, really good fall book. But I do feel like, 1, it was very, very long. You can see it's very thick. And 2, coming off like reading 5 4-star books back to back to back pretty much. And then I read this book, which I've heard is very highly rated. I loved it, but I will say that I think if I had read this book before those other books, I would have loved it even more. I think that this book is great for anyone who wants like a fall read that does have depth. You're seeing a character who's went through divorce. You're seeing older characters. You're seeing a span of time from like 97 or something into future. You're seeing, people talking to each other before they have like cell phones and stuff, like super prevalent. Like you're just getting a different time period, which I loved. But again, it's long. Like this is a long romance. I do think that the author could have cut some stuff out. Rated this one 3.5 out of 5 stars. Again, I did love it. I think that anyone who's looking for a romance that has deeper themes, but like not too deep, but it's like still kind of giving that cutesy vibe, but you're seeing someone who has like a kid and taking care of their kid and like learning to love again. Like you're seeing that in a story. If that's what you're looking for, pick this book up. It is definitely worth the hype that everyone's talked about. I think for me, it was just coming off of reading 5 great books, like all these being 4 stars, like I just love them all. It's very hard to like keep that same vein, especially when you jump to a new genre, because I read 3 contemporary fictions in a row. They were all 4 stars. And then right before that, I read a 4-star, like cutesy romance. So I feel like because this one was giving depth, but it wasn't giving the depth of the last 3 books that I read, I don't know, it just didn't give me that like 5-star, 4-star, 4.5-star feeling. But again, I think it was more right book, love the book, great book, wrong time. Then I read Sugar Baby, another contemporary fiction, because I was like, let me go back to what I was like loving before. Ate this book up. I think because I knew what I was getting into when I read it, it's a whole mess. This girl is deciding to be a sugar baby. She comes from a family that has a lot of rules as to how she should govern her life, as to where she should go to church, a very strict mother, and she is kind of having this push and pull as to like what she wants to do with her life. I really loved seeing this perspective from someone who wasn't really familiar with the sugar baby lifestyle, and then you're seeing her decide like what she wants her future to look like. I don't know, this felt very much like a coming of age story because she has no idea what she wants to do. She's kind of just flying by the seat of her pants and deciding like, tomorrow I'm gonna do this, okay, then the day after that I'm gonna do this. And she's making some decisions that are great and some decisions that aren't great, but again, that's just being human. And that's what I feel like I love the most about this book. 4 stars. I feel like the reviews on this are kind of back and forth, but if you know you're getting into just like a messy story, a character who's kind of sometimes unlikable, and is just human, you will like this book. We're getting to the end here. I ended up reading Open Water. This book right here was not a hit for me. It was definitely a miss. I think, again, it was more just the writing style. I found myself really being ready for this to be over. I think it was just a writing style. It was so lyrical that I just felt like I was reading poetry more than I was like reading a story. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it was about it. I don't know. Maybe because I just read so many bangers this month, it just didn't hit. I know so many people do love this book, so I don't know. It just didn't hit for me. But it also could have been because I got a 5-star read this month, and August Lane, 5 freaking stars, made me want to find a book like this in every single freaking book that I read. I ate this book up. It's about a guy who writes a country song, and he's a black country artist, writes a country song, but the words are not his. He took them from someone else, and you're seeing him go back to his hometown where that girl was from who he took the lyrics from, and this is all in the back of the book, so like I'm not spoiling anything. Goes back to this hometown, and he has a lot of trauma that he left in the hometown, and he just like expected to just leave it there forever, like leave it for good. So he's having to kind of reckon with that while he's there, and then you're also seeing the point of view of August, who's the girl who wrote those lyrics, and something pulled them apart, and you don't really know what it is throughout the story, but if you want a story that has tension, that has build-up, yearning, pick this book up. I feel like they didn't really do anything until like the 200-page mark, and those are the books that I love. Eat those up. I think my favorite books are always books with yearning. I know I rated Sweet Heat by Bolu Babalola 5 stars. I rated On Merit Alone by Adorable Huckabee Ordaz 5 stars. All of those books have yearning. You don't get anything until like the 200-page mark, and even then it's like crumbs. I eat that up. I eat it up every single time. I cannot wait to read more from Regina Black. I've read The Art of Scandal. Enjoyed it, but I think I rated like 3.5 stars. So like it was good. Maybe it was 4 stars. It was good. It just wasn't like anything to write home about. This book, I got into it and immediately was like, oh yeah, this book's gonna be 5 stars. I can already tell. It's just such a unique story. You don't see stories about not only a black country artist, but also how someone is navigating like just the country bar scene as a black guy. Like you're not seeing how a woman is looked at when they decide to have multiple partners and how that looks versus a guy who has multiple partners and how that like looks to society even though they're doing the exact same thing. Like there's so many deeper themes in this book. Would really make a good book club book, to be honest. It just was so good. And I wish I could read it over again for the first time. So those are all the books that I read this month. I had a great reading month. I'm on pace to read 180 books during this entire year. And I'm sure by the end of the year, I'll do like a recap of all my favorite books because I've read so many. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.